When it's time to do a stock market and stock and global economy and future podcast. I always love doing these. So I haven't followed the stock market enough recently. Was totally consumed with sports and stuff through November. So I got a chance to take a look at something I really spent a lot of time with actually um, over the last several months updating now. So I've taken a look at all of the companies in here and I can talk really knowledgeably about really 258 companies it looks like we're at right now that we're tracking. And I have a way of sorting them and discussing them. And also I'm not betting on sports anymore the way I was doing recently. And it's got me to think about questions about what's investing and what's gambling. And I actually don't want to give gambling advice about the stock market because I guess I don't like gambling. It's something that you should have figured out earlier in life, but I really think I actually don't enjoy it. I enjoy other elements of being right. It doesn't have to be financially rewarded. So I was thinking, well, how do we discuss the stocks in terms of an investing framework, at least more of a degree of an investing framework as opposed to a gamble, like, and so I'm going to try to expand upon that as we talk about the companies that are on this list, because it made me want to really discuss companies that I hold in high esteem and I believe will help to create a better world, a more productive world, an easier world for humans. They have the right mindset. You can, if you want to make really polar decisions about things, you can say something like a company that doesn't burn combustion fuels into the atmosphere and does the same thing as another company that does burn combustion fuels, like a car that burns and releases gas into the atmosphere. I've always said, like, people used to kill themselves by turning their cars on in their garage because they emitted so much junk back in the day. Now it takes a lot longer for you to kill yourself, even though you probably still will with a gas powered vehicle. But it's something that isn't even fathomable in the same way with a vehicle like a Tesla, and there's a reason for that. So I always want to talk about purchasing long call options, but I think I want to talk about it in a longer period of time with these companies rather than something super short term. Like you want to be talking about a year out or more, where there's obviously is still an element of risk, a huge element of risk, but at least you're getting more time for reality to play out in your favor. So, a company like Tesla that launched the Semi this week, they launched a Semi. They put out their truck, and it's they did a 500-mile test, and there are going to be hiccups along the way, but in theory and now in practice, they're showing that it's going to be feasible and going to be working, and the network's only going to grow. This is obviously the direction things are going. Tesla's been on this amazing, crazy drop because people don't understand the whole Elon Twitter situation, which I'm okay with. He's just so much smarter than us, everybody. He's just a mad alien genius. Like alien in terms of how is he doing everything and tweeting every answers to everyone's questions. Like, what on earth? And the answer is Elon Musk. And so I think he has his heart in the right place with the companies he owns and what they do. And I do support him, even if the media and his true responses are being categorized as something that I would normally not be a part of. I guess when like say they said that Musk was like a Nazi sympathizer or something like that, and he started supporting Hitler or something. I'd be like, no way. I'd go onto Twitter and I'd be like, is this really happening? And I would see if it really is. If it really is, I'd be like, wow, he really thinks that we should like prune our race and kill a bunch of people that aren't orange haired. And I'd be like, man, he's orange haired, isn't he? Oh, whatever. That's why. Whatever. Point is, I'd be like, I would reevaluate if something that drastic happened. I never see anything that drastic. I see overblown news stuff that's slanted against him. And whenever I go and look at his actual comments, actual interviews, actual remarks, I find myself agreeing with the man and supporting him. So I mean, it's one of those weird ones where it's like it's almost like a Trump cult. I feel like for the Elon people, sort of, because we're like a lot of people are uniting against him. If you still support him, they're trying to turn it as like, what's wrong with you? So now I understand the Trump supporter in that sense, and it's fascinating to watch. I say buy long calls on this company; they're unbelievable. Same thing with Moderna company. Moderna is the only company that I haven't seen Elon create one that does exactly what this company does, and this company is programming health in terms of RNA and DNA and basically this is what the programming of life is. it is founded in these types of molecular genetic adjustments to our code to get our cells to express different things than they are when they are not working properly. Our body is on essentially a genetic time clock as your cells replicate. It's why we age. We're starting to understand this mathematically. I mean, let us not forget, we got a vaccine for probably a Chinese created virus. I believe the Chinese were messing around with cold viruses and put a sequence in there to see how it would bond, if it would be super bonding to cells, what would happen in a bat. I think that bat sneezed on people. And the way I know about how Chinese hygiene is somebody just didn't shower, came home, the next thing you know, the whole world's got it. I think it's an accident, and I think it's totally what happened. But forget all that. Now, that's my crazy ending talk for the podcast. But the company Moderna, let us not forget that we came up with a novel vaccine approach that, let's face it, it works. I mean, the media isn't pulling us one over on that, because it was obvious that people that get vaccinated fare better and people that don't get vaccinated don't fare as well. And that's because you're training your immune system, and it's science, everybody. So they're leading the way. So even though you've seen a precipitous drop here when looking at the last year, especially the last 3 quarters, that you can see that when the market recovers, they're ripe for it. So I recommend long calls in Moderna. Canadian Solar doing it on the solar end. I mean, they're almost like better than Solar City's arm within Tesla that I know of. I haven't heard enough Solar City stuff out of Elon in a while, and I don't know why. But Canadian Solar, I do like their financials. They get thrashed around because they have a heavy short interest, but they're not that expensive of a stock. So I see them and their demand and their sales jumped crazy last quarter, and they have that potential. And if they can meet the demand, I see them continuing to go up and being worth more. United Therapeutics on the automated medical front. They're not like Moderna, but they're well entrenched and their profits are great and they're advancing as well. I like the arc of what they're doing technologically as well as financially. So they continue to go up, and they're very robust. They do not have a heavy short interest. They are known. And when I looked at their financials and looked into them, I was surprised I had not reviewed them sooner. I reviewed them at some point, I believe in early November, and I'm glad I found them. Borg Warner with battery production, also very steady, low short interest, great financials, continuing to get more demand. They're just going to keep going up. Dentistry, I won't talk about too much. Google Alphabet, I won't talk because I haven't been focusing. Domino's, what are they at? They're at 382. Well, they're going to go to 400. So let's just change that. It's not Super Bowl yet, everybody. This company, I've had discussions about Domino's in videos before, as I did work with them briefly once back in like 2001 when I started a business for menus, for restaurant menus on the internet a long time ago. And they're great people and they put out a great product, and they are not resistant to getting their tech better, to getting their pizzas created in more automated fashion, to get stuff delivered in a more automated fashion. They're not stopping. And I mean, their pizza is always acceptable. I'll put it that way. And so they know what they're doing, and they're going to keep going up. So that moves them around a little bit on this list. Moves them up to 6 over a line. Intuitive Surgical, also there at 272. Now, these are companies that went past my target. So it's time to review them, and we need to mark that. So within the file here, for example, I just reviewed Domino's and made an adjustment. So we need to put that here. Borg Warner's fine. I've reviewed Borg Warner today. I've reviewed Moderna today. That's fine. Canadian Solar, I haven't actually. I'll double check their financials, but I reviewed them very recently, so that's fine. So that's how you do this. Walmart also. Walmart's at one. Yeah, see how everything blew past my strike price, even in a market that people have said is not great, and that means you can raise Walmart. I raised Domino's. Google, I need to review. Intuitive Surgical, I mean, 275 is fine, but only because, they're not, even if they go down to 250, they go back up to 275. Sherwin-Williams blew through stuff. They might have a dividend coming though. I'm going to check them out. And yeah, so what you see here is you see a lot of stuff that went up over my strike price. Okay. And that's because they're good companies. So when I talk about giving advice, I can tell you with as much confidence that I have in anything that Tesla hires the best engineers on the vanguard of the future. And you'll only hear more incredibly unbelievable and probably practically awesome ideas that they continue to institute as they spread their way of operating and transitioning and using energy for the benefit of humans the way that they do that. And so I can always say buy long calls on them. And my target price is always going to be more than their current price because I see them going up until that stops, until all the engineers say leave Tesla and they're like, man, Tesla's old school. Tesla's like the Facebook of electric cars. Until that happens and everybody works for, Lucid or Polestar or Rivian, until everyone jumps ship. And I know that Tesla isn't what it used to be. I'm going to keep telling you to buy long calls on them and you're going to keep seeing them go up in the long term. That is my promise to you because they are incredible. And I mean, who doesn't want a Tesla? Teslas are still very fashionable, even if, in the higher communities, I hear people joking around talking about, well, everyone's got a Tesla, so I'm going to get something else. I'm going to get the Ford. I'm going to get the Ford Mustang. I got friends that did that. It's a cool car too. I love that you decided to go electric. We all should. But it's funny because Tesla's becoming so pronounced in certain areas that people think that that's not the way it is in most of the country. In most of the country and a lot of the country that I travel, I'm going to pull up in a Tesla and people are going to look at me differently. And unfortunately, that's still the world that we live in. But the only way to change it is to change the world around you. And I love what this company is doing. So I'm going to keep supporting you. All right. That is the Stock Market Podcast for today. Good luck. I hope all your trades are winning and all your trades have won. And I hope the world keeps getting better.